Hello, this is Austin Dennis back with another video. Today we're going to be walking through the Intro to Defensive Security room on TryHackMe. So this will probably be the second video that you would see if you're brand new, you don't know anything, and this is the second room in the Intro to Cybersecurity learning path. So the first thing we see in task number 1 is offensive security focuses on one thing: breaking into systems. Breaking into systems might be achieved through exploiting bugs, abusing insecure setups, and taking advantage of unenforced access control policies, among other things. Red teams and penetration testers specialize in offensive security. Defensive security is somewhat the opposite of offensive security, as it is concerned with two main tasks. Number 1, preventing intrusions from occurring. Number 2, detecting intrusions when they occur and respond properly. Blue teams are part of the defensive security landscape. Some of the tasks that are related to defensive security include using cybersecurity awareness. Training users about cybersecurity helps protect against various attacks that target their systems. Documenting and maintaining assets. Managing assets. We need to know the types of and devices that we have to manage and protect properly. Updating and patching systems. Ensuring that computers, servers, and network devices are correctly updated and patched against any known vulnerability weakness. Setting up preventative security devices. Firewall and intrusion prevention systems are critical components of preventative security. Firewalls control what network traffic can go inside and what can leave the network system or network. IPS blocks any network traffic that matches present rules and attack signatures. Setting up logging and monitoring devices. Without proper logging and monitoring of the network, it won't be possible to detect malicious activities and intrusions. If new unauthorized device appears on our network, we should be able to know. There is much more to defensive security, and the list above only covers a few common topics. In this room we cover Security Operations Center, Threat Intelligence, Digital Forensics and Incident Response, Malware Analysis. So the first question would be, which team focuses on defensive security? And you might think that that answer comes from this section right here, but actually, if you remember up at the top, we just read about the red team and the blue team. The team in the cybersecurity realm that takes care of the defensive part of cybersecurity is the blue team. We move on to the next room and we talk about the areas of defensive security. It says, in this task, we will cover two main topics related to defensive security. Security Operations Center, where we cover threat intelligence, digital forensics and incident response, where we also cover malware analysis. The Security Operations Center is a team of cybersecurity professionals that monitor the network and its systems to detect malicious cybersecurity events. Some of the main areas of interest for a Security Operations Center are vulnerabilities. Whenever a system vulnerability weakness is discovered, it is essential to fix it by installing a proper update or patch. When a fix is not available, the necessary measures should be taken to prevent an attacker from exploiting it. Although remediating vulnerabilities is of vital interest to a Security Operations Center, it is not necessarily assigned to them. Policy violations. We can think of security policy as a set of rules required for the protection of network and systems. For example, it might be a policy violation if users start uploading confidential company data to an online storage service. Unauthorized activity. Consider the case where a user's login name and password are stolen, and the attacker uses them to log into the network. A Security Operations Center needs to detect such an event and block it as soon as possible before further damage is done. Network intrusions. No matter how good your security is, there is always a chance for an intrusion. An intrusion can occur when a user clicks on a malicious link or when an attacker exploits a public server. Either way, when an intrusion occurs, we must detect it as soon as possible to prevent further damage. Security operations covered various tasks to ensure protection. One such task is threat intelligence. In this context, intelligence refers to information you gather about actual and potential enemies. A threat is any action that can disrupt or adversely affect a system. Threat intelligence aims to gather information and help the company better prepare against potential adversaries. The purpose would be to achieve a threat-informed defense. Different companies have different adversaries. Some adversaries might seek to steal company data from a mobile operator. However, other adversaries are interested in halting the production in a petroleum refinery. Example adversaries can include nation-state cyber army working for political reasons and a ransomware group acting for financial purposes. Based on the company, we can expect adversaries. Intelligence needs data. Data has to be collected, processed, and analyzed. Data collection is done from local sources such as network logs and public sources such as forums. Processing of data aims to arrange them in a format and their suitable analysis. The analysis phase seeks to find more information about the attackers and their motives. Moreover, it aims to create a list of recommendations and actionable steps. Learning about your adversaries allows you to know their tactics, techniques, and procedures. As a result of threat intelligence, we identify the threat actor, predict their activity, and consequently, we will be able to mitigate their attacks and prepare for a response strategy. This section is all about digital forensics and incident response. We will cover digital forensics, incident response, malware analysis. Forensics is the application of science to investigate crimes and establish facts. With the use and spread of digital systems such as computers and smartphones, a new branch of forensics was born and to investigate related crimes, computer forensics, which later evolved into digital forensics. In defense of cybersecurity, the focus of digital forensics shifts to analyzing the evidence of an attack and its perpetrators, and as other areas as intellectual property theft, cyber espionage, and the possession of unauthorized content. Consequently, the digital forensics will focus on different areas such as file system. Analyzing a digital forensics image, low-level copy, of a system's storage reveals too much information such as installed programs, created files, partially overwritten files, and deleted files. System memory. If the attacker is running their malicious program in memory without saving it to the disk, taking a forensic image, a low-level copy, of the system memory is the best way to analyze its contents and learn about the attack. System logs. Each client and server computer maintains log files about what is happening. Log files provide plenty of information about what happened on a system. Some traces will be left even if the attacker tries to clear their traces. Network logs. Logs of the network packets that have traversed a network would help answer more questions about whether an attack is occurring and what it entails. Incident response. An incident usually refers to a data breach or cyber attack. However, in some cases it can be something less critical such as a misconfiguration, an intrusion attempt, or a policy violation. Examples of a cyber attack include an attacker making our network or systems inaccessible, defacing, changing the public website, and data breach, stealing company data. How would you respond to a cyber attack? Incident response specifies the methodology that should be followed to handle such a case. The aim is to reduce damage and recover in the shortest time possible. Ideally, you would develop a plan ready for incident response. The four major phases of the incident response process are preparation, number 1. This requires a team trained and ready to handle incidents. Ideally, various measures are put into place to prevent incidents from happening in the first place. Number 2, detection and analysis. The team has the necessary resources to detect any incident. Moreover, it is essential to further analyze any detected incident to learn about its severity. Number 3, containment, eradication, and recovery. Once an incident is detected, it is crucial to stop it from affecting other systems, eliminate it, and recover the affected systems. For instance, when we notice that a system is infected with a computer virus, we would like to stop, contain the virus from spreading to other systems, clean, eradicate the virus, and ensure proper system recovery. Number 4, post-incident activity. After a successful recovery, a report is produced and the learned lesson is shared to prevent similar future incidents. Malware analysis stands for malicious software, or malware stands for malicious software. Software refers to programs, documents, and files that you can save on a disk or send over the network. Malware includes many types, such as virus is a piece of code, a part of a program that attaches itself to a program. It is designed to spread from one computer to another. Moreover, it works by altering, overwriting, and deleting files once it infects a computer. The result ranges from the computer becoming slow to unusable. A Trojan horse is a program that shows one desirable function but hides malicious function underneath. For example, a victim might download a video player from a shady website that gives attacker complete control over their system. And ransomware is a malicious program that encrypts the user's files. Encryption makes the files unreadable without knowing the encryption password. The attacker offers the user encryption password if the user is willing to pay a ransom. Malware analysis aims to learn about such malicious programs using various means. Static analysis works by inspecting the malicious program without running it. Usually, this requires solid knowledge of the assembly language, processor's instruction set or the computer's fundamental instructions. Dynamic analysis works by running the malware in a controlled environment and monitoring its activities. It lets you observe how the malware behaves when running. So when we get down to the questions below, all of the questions in the first part when you're looking on the website are basically going to be you reading a bunch of information like we just did there. And I know that that can seem boring, but it's a lot of helpful foundational knowledge that you'll use as you go further through the website and get into more of the fun stuff like hacking and things like that. So these questions right now are all based on information that we just read. So the first thing, it says, what would you call a team of cybersecurity professionals that monitor a network and its systems for malicious events? So rather than just giving an answer, let's go back up and look. So we're looking for a team of cybersecurity professionals that monitor a network and its systems for malicious events. So we're looking all the way back up to the top, and we have information about the Security Operations Center. And that is the answer. It says the Security Operations Center is a team of cybersecurity professionals that monitor a network and its systems to detect malicious cybersecurity events. So we'll go right back down to the bottom and type in Security Operations Center. And there's the answer. What does DFIR stand for? You remember that's what we just saw a second ago, which is Digital Forensics and Incident Response. So we can go back down to the bottom, Digital Forensics and Incident Response. And then down at the bottom, we have our last question. Which kind of malware requires the user to pay money to regain access to their files? And we just read about that one right here. It's talking about ransomware. We were talked about virus, Trojan horse, and ransomware. Ransomware is the specific one where your files will be encrypted. In order to gain access back to them, the attacker will demand a payment. So ransomware. And there's our third one. So our very final task, we're going to see a practical example of defensive security. So here when you click on the green site button, it pops up into a separate thing. So this is not actually a second computer. Like in the previous video we looked at and we were dealing with a specific computer. This is something different. This is a site basically built into TryHackMe, and it's giving us a task to do. So let's read about it before we get into it. It says, what would a typical task that you will be doing as a security analysis? Click on View Site to follow along. So we already did that right there. It says you are part of a security operations center and responsible for protecting a bank. This bank's security operations center uses security information and event management, a SIM, system. A SIM gathers security related information and events from various sources and prevents them via one system. For instance, you would be notified if there is a failed login attempt or a login attempt from an unexpected geographic location. Moreover, with the advent of machine learning, a SIM might detect unusual behavior, such as a user logging in at 3 a.m. when he usually only logs in during work hours. In this exercise, we will interact with the SIM to monitor the different events on our network and systems in real time. Some of the events are typical and harmless, others might require further intervention from us. Find the event flagged out in red, take note of it, and click on it for further inspection. Next, we will want to learn about the more specific suspicious activity or event. The suspicious event might have been triggered by an event such as a local user, a local computer, or a remote IP address. To send and receive postal mail, you need a physical address. Similarly, you need an IP address to send and receive data over the internet. An IP address is a logical address that allows you to communicate over the internet. We inspect the cause of the trigger to confirm whether the event is indeed malicious. If it is malicious, we need to take due action, such as reporting to someone else in the Security Operations Center and blocking the IP address. So, over here on this website, we basically have an example of something that you would be looking at on a daily basis in a Security Operations Center, which is a SIM. And basically what this does is there are rules in a SIM that when certain events happen, we get a notification and an alert for it, and we'll be able to tell whether or not certain things are right. So you're going to want to know things like you're looking at here, where we've got a password expiring, then we have a user trying to log in and failing, and then you have the user being able to log in. Now up here we've got our red one. It told us on the side that we needed to be looking for a red thing, which is detecting the malicious activity. So right here is our red one. Now the rule that was alerted said that there was an unauthorized connection attempt detected from IP address 143.110.250.149 to port 22, which you'll learn about later. That port is the secure shell port, and you can gain access to that and basically gain access to somebody's entire computer with that. But so before you move on, make a note of that IP address. You don't want to forget it. And so you're just going to separately, you can either do it on a notepad on your computer or on a phone or anything like that. Make a note of that IP address 143.110.250.149. And go ahead and hold on to that. I'll click on that. And then down here, we're going to want to enter that IP address. So 143.110.250.149. We're going to scan that IP address, and we find it, and it turns out that this is a China Mobile Communications Corporation, and that the confidence of this IP being malicious is 100%. So this is a known IP address. This is not one that should have access to our files. And it says right here, there are many open source databases out there like Abuse IPDP and Cisco's Talos Intelligence, where you can perform a reputation and location check for the IP address. Most security analysts use these tools to aid them with alert investigations. You can also make the internet safer by reporting the malicious IPs, for example, Abuse IPDB. Now that we know the IP address is malicious, we need to escalate it to a staff member. So we'll go next. And at this point, when we are analyzing the SIM logs, before we really take action, especially if you're an entry-level role, you don't want to go ahead and just take action into your own hands. You're working with a full team full of all kinds of other people. So when we go down and look at all these people, who would we escalate these events to? Now, when we look at Dominic Nash as the sales executive, you can immediately eliminate him. He doesn't have anything to do with cybersecurity in terms of his role as the sales executive. The three that we're really looking at are the security consultant, the information security architect, and the security operations center team lead. Now, both of these are really going to be on the same level as us in this scenario. We're going to want to go to Will Griffin, which is the SOC team lead. We're escalating the problem, meaning that we need to go somebody a step above us in terms of the company's employment. And then at this point, we've got a list of firewalls that we've blocked before. We got permission to block the IP address. So we go down to the IP address that we've already taken note of, which is 143.110.250 and 149. Block that IP address. And here we have our flags. So we can copy this, and since we're not in a separate browser like the last video, you can just copy that straight back over to the box down here, THM threat blocked, and we have completed the intro to defensive security rooms. So I hope that this was helpful. I know that these first couple rooms can be really boring, just covering a lot of information that you think you might already know, or whether you know it or not. It's just kind of, you want to get your hands on the computer and get hacky and all this fun. These are foundational rooms. They're very important. I wouldn't recommend skipping them over for anything, and it's just good to go ahead and get your mind wrapped around it and think about these things. So like I said, this is a one and all YouTube channel. We're just getting started, but any TryHackMe problems that you have, especially in future dates, you should be able to come back to this channel, and I'll likely have a video up on the room on how to get past it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you do me a favor and leave a like down below, leave a comment if it helped you out, and share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to build this channel up, and I'm really thankful for all the people that are already following it, and just hope that you will continue to watch and learn. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.